one for the weekend. This is the last one for the weekend. It doesn't mean it's the last weekend ever.
Yeah.
It is just the last one for the weekend podcast brought to you by Fan League.
Are you excited about that, or
Well, that's a good question, actually.
Melancholic.
Just generally, like, with the season slowly coming to an end, well, not slowly, it's just the same time as ever. How do you generally feel? Are you footballed out?
I am footballed out,
Are you?
to be honest, yeah. It's not been a great season, has it? I mean, you've had a good one with Tottenham.
Yeah, but even I'm footballed out.
Generally, it's like Chelsea have just sort of soared away with it. Then they've given us a little dramatic wobble at the end.
Nice.
Just to make us think something's amiss. So, no, I'm pretty much done. After all the excitement of last year of Leicester winning it, sorry.
That's okay.
It's not been a classic. Maybe we all need a bit of a break, recharge the batteries, and then come back next season. It'll be
We
much
go
better.
again.
Iain Macintosh, everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. Iain Macintosh back by popular demand. You threatened to look at the comments, and the comments were good. People were happy with you. Did you not?
No.
Well, yeah,
God.
just so you know, the
That'll
feedback
never
was
happens.
strong.
Oh.
You were welcome.
Thanks for getting online, Mum.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, she's done it again for you. So, Fan League sponsor this podcast, and it's the last time that we're going to be doing it for now.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed it so far, us previewing the games and all those bits and pieces, then let us know in the comments below if you've enjoyed it and why. And then, you never know, we might come back next season. Once we've had a break, we go again. As you said.
I mean, I'm not thinking about next season.
You're not?
I'm not. I mean, I'm footballed out. I'm to the brim with football.
If you lean left or right, there's football
spills. A little bit of football spills over, and to be honest, I'm drowning in it.
So you're not. What about the general glow of a decent season as well? Are you enjoying that? Had enough of it?
No, done.
Too long.
Done. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
So you just don't feel comfortable
it's great.
with that setting?
You know what? Look, the White Hart Lane. Seeing off WhiteArt Lane on Sunday, that was the line under it. I don't need 2 more games of football now.
Yeah.
That was the end.
So not excited about the Hull City away game this weekend?
No, not at all.
You'd forgotten there for a second that there was a game this weekend.
Yeah, I thought you was going to say sort of Hull versus some other team, but no, we are playing them.
Yeah.
We're playing Leicester this evening. Don't feel anything.
Really?
Literally nothing at all. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, lots to look forward to. We're previewing all the action of the final game of the season. Just to say, actually, we're doing a watch along on the Ball Street channel. So if you're not a subscriber to the Ball Street channel, head over there on Sunday.
I'll be there.
Flav will be there. So, if his enthusiasm hasn't rubbed off on you yet, join us for that, because that's just 3 hours of that's going to be an absolute joy. Fan League is an app that's it's a bit like the pools, isn't it? So you've got 13 games, you've got to pick who's won the game. If you can get all 13 right, there are epic prizes to be won. There's a beta version of this app available right now. If you want to play along with us, we've been doing it for a good few weeks now, but if you want to play along, you can do it on that beta app. The link is in the description. The main app comes out in August. So yeah, that's all that is.
I am terrible at it.
Not last
Well,
week.
you say that,
Yeah.
Flav. You say that, but that's not true, because you won last week.
A clock is always right twice a day or something along those lines. Always ticks the boat.
You'd have won a bit of money for that.
Yeah. Go on.
11 out of 13. Garrett, well done, mate. Garrett also joint leader this week, giving the fans' perspective on the predictions. Don't know what that means. But yeah, he got 11 out of 13 as well. He's had 2 strong weeks. He's done very well. Me 9 out of 13, which I feel is good. I feel that's strong.
Score.
Ian.
That's a decent score.
But you've got 10 there, so mid-table.
Double figures, I'll take that.
Yeah, that's the aim, isn't it? With this, you've got 13 to predict. If you can get double figures, you've done well for yourself.
If you get bankers come in as well, if the big teams come in and everyone does as they're supposed to, and you've gone that way, then
exactly
that's generally what you're after.
So what we're going to talk about finishing 4th. Who is going to get that 4th spot? And there's a few bankers. You're speaking of bankers there. There are a few bankers in here. But on the final day, who knows what could happen? We're going to talk about that possible playoff that could happen for 4th, which if you don't know about, then stick around for that.
Very exciting.
We've got some Spanish games, so we can dip into Flav's wealth of La Liga knowledge and my own. As we give our predictions on that one.
Not very much at all.
Great.
No.
Yeah. We're going to do our season's learning. So what have we learned from the 2016-17 season? Our end of season awards, have got a few that we're going to go through as well. And a bumper soldiers lost in battle. A lot of soldiers lost in battle this week. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Good stuff.
Right, so let's kick off with the big one. It's the only thing left to talk about in the Premier League.
I was really
season.
gutted when Hull lost and it was clear that there would be nothing at stake in terms of relegation in the final day of the season. I was a little bit gutted. I was gutted for Hull.
You like Hull,
I
don't you? Where's this come from?
Because they just plucked this guy.
It's the British love for an underdog in you.
Yeah, there's
That's what it is.
They started the season with only 13 players, as we know, or a week beforehand. They're there was nothing down. Supporters don't deserve that. They've got a manager who kind of seems to have lost interest in the football club somewhat after he hasn't had his way of changing the name and being able to remarket Hull as a football town.
Yeah. But do Swansea supporters not deserve? Yeah. I always find this interesting. And we'll ask this about the Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City thing. Who deserves it? And how does that work?
I like that, and despite the fact that I just said that Alam has no interest, he's only to pluck a pretty ballsy move in getting Silva over, because I'd never heard of him.
What was it you were saying about stopped clock earlier?
Twice a day.
Yeah.
He's right.
He's only got one so far. I think you're right. That was obviously a masterstroke getting him in, but the scrapping of concessions on ticket prices has alienated the fans. His dad's move to turn it to Hull City Tigers was just a disaster. Why did they need to do that? They didn't. They caused problems by when you don't even need to cause them.
Yeah.
And a catastrophic preparation for a season. You can't give the rest of the Premier League a head start, particularly not when you've just come up through the playoffs.
Absolutely.
The fans don't deserve it, you're right, but the club does.
Yeah, and off they go, and we may never see them again.
We won't see them again.
Yeah.
Really?
That'll be it.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a difficult position because they don't actually own their ground. The council owns their ground. So they have to share it with a rugby team, which obviously rips the pitch up something chronic. And I was there for the whole Swansea game, and Marco Silva at the end was saying, this club's got so many problems. We can't play proper football on a pitch like this.
Yeah. So
if you've got your manager saying, I can't do my job for 19 of the 38 games, there's big problems there.
Well, that was how he dodged it, wasn't it? After losing to Palace like that, they were saying, in your future, what are you doing here? And he goes, I'll chat with them and tell them what I feel this club needs, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And is he going to get all the things on his list? Probably not.
Well, he won't be there.
I don't think he'd be there. I think he's silly to stay there, isn't he? Because his stock is high at the moment.
Yeah. Right now, he's the shoe-in for any medium-sized Premier League job.
He's that guy, isn't it?
Yeah,
he's the Gary Rowett of 3 months ago.
He'll end up at Watford, or he'll end up at Southampton. Both managers seem to be outgoing.
He reeks of Southampton, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He really does pong of Southampton.
I mean, he reminds me, and this might be kind of very obvious reasons, but he reminds me of Pochettino's arrival and how well he did. And he managed to... It was different circumstances with Southampton, but the turnaround was comparable. And if they'd begun the season with Silva based on the results that he achieved after he arrived, they would have been mid-table safely. So with his limited squad, that's impressive, and I think he's going to do an amazing job at Southampton if he gets that job. If he gets it,
it's a good little microcosm of a judgment for a chairman to make on a manager as well, because he did have January. And he brought in a lot of guys, and you thought, oh god, this looks a bit desperate. But actually, a lot of those guys have done quite well for him, or have contributed to a point, which is weird to say in a team that's got relegated now. But they looked completely finished. And you're so right with that point. A team that goes up through the playoffs, they've already 2-3 weeks behind the other teams who have already been preparing for 3 weeks before that because they knew they were going to get automatic promotion. So you're so far behind in trying to bring in new players. To have that and then
the owners
take so long.
The owners have given the impression that they basically spent the summer waiting to be bought. So woohoo, Premier League club, here you go, and no one came in, and it was like, oh crap, now we've got to do something, and they just weren't ready.
It's very similar with QPR because we went up and Briatore still owned part of the club, and so Warnock's gone up and he goes, I need all these funds to do it. And we bought DJ Campbell, Jay Bothroyd, and Danny Gabardon.
Good players.
Friend of the show.
Good players.
No,
probably not what you needed
not
at the
what
time.
We needed at the time. Yeah, but it was the same thing. They were going, well, we want to sell, so why would I waste any more money on this?
Plus, it's Neil Warnock. He's saying, he goes, I need all this, and you're like, you're Neil Warnock. I'm not giving you anything. You just come in and be grateful.
Oh, right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Go get some Yorkshire scrapping midfielders and
just
keep us
up.
up.
What's he ever going to do, Neil Warnock, at any football club? Apart from potential. Sorry, mate, but I'm telling the truth here, Ian. He's going to get you up, maybe.
Well, he's never. That's the thing that he'll always say is that I never really got the chance to keep a team up.
He's done a very decent job with Cardiff, Crisis Club Cardiff, heading for the 3rd division, and he's stabilised them. I think I can see where he comes from. He's a manager for a certain level for a certain job.
Yeah,
you wouldn't necessarily have him as a figurehead of your drive from the Championship to the Champions League.
Exactly.
But again, that's only due to opportunity.
No,
No,
It's due
I
to
think it's
ability.
No, but he hasn't had an opportunity. Like we got rid of him.
Ability and personality.
Okay. Universally, he's devoid of either at the top level.
No, he has too much personality.
He's a fantastic bum kicker. You want him in to kick bums and sort things out, and then you probably want to move on.
So moving to the one thing that matters now is top four, which I actually think is kind of fitting because the whole season, this top four phrase has been. It's been all everyone has been talking about, and because you knew you had 6 massive clubs with really massive managers hoping to get that top 4, and 2 were going to miss out.
7 if you include Everton as well.
I think that became a thing.
Yeah,
them being top 7 because they have had a good.
But at the start of the season, the narrative was that there were 7 top draw managers in England, and we don't know which one's going to end up top of the pile. But more importantly, I guess, because of how good Conte was after losing to Arsenal and changing the system, who was going to finish in that top 4. I mean, I don't think there's ever been such a wealth of managerial talent in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the case at the beginning of the season for Leicester regressing. You could quite easily see Leicester dropping all the way to 7th, maybe.
Yeah.
We thought that would be bad at the time. But it was unthinkable who would finish 6th at that point. It was like, well, Mourinho? No, surely not. It's Manchester United.
Yeah.
So it's been extraordinary on that. Yeah, Wenger as well.
We did predict on Ball Street. We did a predictor at the start of the season. We said Arsenal would finish 6th. And you can imagine the furore.
Yeah.
They were not happy. Not happy.
That's a comments box I definitely wouldn't have looked at.
And generally, when the form's gone up, you'll see a couple of comments on that video going, "You idiots!"
Yeah.
And then it's actually been disappointing because if they'd finished sort of 2nd or 3rd, we probably would have got more comments out of it, which is better for the video.
Engagement.
But unfortunately, we
did get one guy going, "I'm sorry. I was very angry when you said that Arsenal would finish 6th, but now I see the error in my raise, and you were right."
You had someone apologise on the internet.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
I've never seen
incredible
that.
scenes.
So what's really exciting about this is the fact that if Arsenal draw 1-1 with Everton, they've both got home games. Liverpool lose 2-0 to Middlesbrough, which feels slightly far-fetched.
That's a lot of goals for Middlesbrough.
Yeah,
that's a lot of goals. Isn't it? And what was the great stat last time you were on? It was against Man City. They scored 8% of their total goals in the game against Man City.
8.33% of their total goals in one game.
Wow.
So that would mean that they would both have 75 goals for 44 against, both have 31 plus goal difference, and both have 73 points, which would lead to possibly... So this is where it's a bit shady, isn't it? And the Premier League would have to decide if it's going to be 2 legs or just a straight-out playoff.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, though.
What would you prefer?
Oh, yeah, just the one game.
Just one?
Neutral stadium, but maybe an unexpected one, like Roots Hall at Southend.
Yeah, definitely.
So the pitch is a contributory factor.
Liverpool versus Arsenal at Roots Hall to decide who goes to the Champions. That would be incredible.
That would be amazing.
I prefer the playoff, one game.
I'd
love to see it. I've never heard of anything like this before, apart from if it's a part of the league structure. And it would be an incredible... I would... Do you know what? I'd want Liverpool to win, but I could see Arsenal finding a way.
I don't trust either club not to win in its own bathwater.
Yeah.
Not this season.
Yeah,
true.
Liverpool against a weaker team already relegated is just one giant banana skin on the halfway line. And Arsenal, I mean, and Everton are a decent team. They haven't had a great record against the bigger sides.
That always happens, isn't it? It's a team, they're playing a team who, like... So that's where you did... It was the treble season. You're playing Man United away. It's always a team's enemy that's playing the other team and they need a result from it.
Right,
Do you know what I mean?
So we had to lose to...
Yeah, I swear that happens all the time.
Arsenal needed
Football
Tottenham
gods.
to beat Man United in the last game of the season. They need to win. They won, and naturally Spurs lost to Man United. Although we did go 1-0 up. Les Ferdinand.
You did, yeah. Good finish that, I remember that.
Was, and then
so Everton... I don't know, this feels like a stupid question to ask. Are they going to try? But do you think that does play a factor? The fact that they... Although it's quite a friendly... Or is it a friendly...
I think it depends on the tone the manager sets. I think there's some clubs where the drinking would probably have already started by now. It depends how tightly Koeman's on the back of him. We'll only find out when the game starts. But I would have said at those 3 fixtures, you'd be looking at, I mean, I'm not a scientist, but about 15-20% chance of something unexpected happening in all of them, which actually does add up to, well, not that much, but there's something there. It just feels like one of those games is going to go a little bit funny.
So Man City have got Watford away in the other one. They just need a point, so they should be okay.
That's a tricky one though, because now, by all accounts, you've got a Watford squad who hate manager Alex Baldwin. They absolutely despise working for him, and now he's going to go. So it could be like the shackles are off, and they want to.
Did you say Alex Baldwin?
That's the one. Walter Mazzari.
Who's Alex Baldwin?
It does look like Alec Baldwin.
He does
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
Right.
Sorry,
He does look like.
He does look like him a lot.
I will miss him.
Did you see, I saw him the other day screaming at his players, absolutely screaming at them, and there was zero reaction. Like, people are just like,
okay.
Apparently they hate him.
Yeah, I would hate him. I was going to say I would hate him and then say he doesn't speak English, which is not my parameters for hating anybody. But his abilities I think he's actually done a good job with Watford, and they have this really weird situation there.
Watford have a really
weird situation of replacing their manager season on season.
Yeah.
And stability. What they actually need. Need a bit of stability.
Do you know what they need?
Stability.
Although you say that, so past 3 years, automatic promotion, finished 13th in the league, FA Cup semi-finals, retained their status for another season, which is something they've struggled to do certainly during the Premier League years. You could say it's the most successful period of time Watford have had since the 80s, since with Graham Taylor and all of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
so maybe it works for them.
Well, it clearly does work for them at the moment, and they're being pragmatic about it. While the likes of us can sit there and go, "I've got no identity. I don't know what they stand for." They're like, "We don't care. We're in the Premier League. In the Premier League, year in, year out."
This can't work forever, though.
It feels like they're rolling the dice every season, and it's they're on a hot streak.
Yeah, and that's a hot streak.
Yeah, I mean, for Watford it is. I mean, that's no disrespect to them, but a club of their size to be consistently in the Premier League for, was it 3 years, and this next season will be the fourth? That's pretty good. I mean, with that, you can start
two,
to...
isn't it? Two.
Is it?
So this will be next year will be the third year.
Third,
yeah.
Right,
the tricky thing, though, is like, what kind of manager are they going to attract now? Because Marco Silva, prepared to be proved wrong on this, but I think he'll look at them and go, nah, that's not what I need. He's done that bit. He's done the quick parachute in and prove yourself in with limited resources. He doesn't need to go to Watford.
Well, Ranieri's the one that's been linked,
which seems mad.
It doesn't feel like it would work out.
No,
does it?
I don't want Ranieri to come back anywhere.
Yeah, because then you'll realise that he's a bit of a fraud. Because
I
hate that word.
The league title had nothing to do with him at all. And then Craig Shakespeare was the power behind the throne. Craig Shakespeare was probably walking around Filbert Street. It's not Filbert Street anymore. The King Power Stadium, right?
Anyway.
Walking around King Power Stadium, going, "That bloody bastard! He's taking all my good work, and he's not once said, 'Thank you, Craig. Thank you for all the good work you're doing. You're playing a major role in the football club. Just know you're valued.'" That's why he had to go behind his back and stab him in the back.
You know what? You know who saw it coming? Andrea Bocelli. You know, when he was out there on the pitch singing, he sang Nessun Dorma, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's nice, because it's a football song." And then he sung "Time to Say Goodbye." And we all just went, "Oh, that's a lovely song. Oh, ooh, I've got shivers." And we didn't realise he was sending his mate a message.
Yeah.
It was just walk away,
Maybe
just drop the mic and walk away.
Well, maybe he was about to go, "Right, guys, just wanted to give you when people, when the artist does a little chat and goes, this next song is, it's a really important one. It's got a message behind it as well." Maybe he's looking to do that afterwards, but then Ranieri's gone, "Come on then, you've had your moment." No, hang on, I just wanted to explain that.
Resign! Go now, you're going to ruin your legacy!
Yeah, maybe.
Imagine if he just walked away at that point and retired from football and gone, "There you go, I just won the Premier League with Leicester, beat that."
Well, you've got to have some massive balls to Cantona it. Do you know what I mean?
Knowing when
like that.
you're done, or knowing when, or quitting when you're at the top is the hardest thing in the world. Your ego will not allow you to do it. You see it in boxing all of the time.
Yeah.
The very greatest boxers will live long or fight long enough to ruin their legacy. And luckily, most boxing fans are pragmatic in that and look at it and go, "Well, we understand why you do it," but it happens over and over again.
So the short answer is no. I don't think Ranieri should take the Watford job.
Okay, good to know. When I was looking at our slip this week, it felt like it was Bankersville. There was just like
there's some obvious ones.
So of those three, those key three, the Man City, so Watford against Man City, Liverpool against Middlesbrough, and Arsenal against Everton. Is there an upset in any of those three for you? They feel like nailed
Middlesbrough,
on.
Middlesbrough depends on what they do. If they go out like Aitor Karanka's Middlesbrough, they were a very, very good defensive team. They almost never scored, but by God could they gum up an attack.
Yeah.
If they go out and do that, just out of sheer bloody mindedness, just out of Agnew just being a complete bastard and wanting to ruin Liverpool's day, then I think they could do it. But if they go out on a kind of great big show of bravado, come on, let's do Liverpool at Anfield and give us, put us in a good mood for the summer.
They're going to get pumped.
Yeah, they will get pumped.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw at the weekend with the Middlesbrough fans singing Aitor Karanka's name, which, did you know this?
No.
Yeah, they were Aitor Karanka, and Agnew would just give a kind of knowing smirk. I'm not sure what he knew, maybe that his time's done at Borough, but it was a weird one because I think they had a very good chance. Of all the teams that were going down, they had a good chance if they were sticking with Karanka. I understand he was a bad run of games, but he being defensively solid is the building block of staying up in the Premier League.
Yeah,
I can understand sacking him. I just can't understand not replacing him properly.
I was
Because
gonna
Wolves did this a few years ago. They sacked Mick McCarthy and they gave his best mate Terry Connor the job. And it's like, well, now you've just got the same voice basically,
but with less experience.
Yeah,
he looked so sad during that whole them getting relegated. He was just kind of there,
such a lovely bloke,
just kind of looking around, and going.
He works
Kevin Doyle, what do you want me to do here?
He works with Mick McCarthy now. They're both at Ipswich
Yeah, they love
together.
each other, don't they?
They're really good mates, and it was just like, well, that's not going to get anywhere. And for Middlesbrough to do that, having seen it happen already,
Yeah, it didn't look good, did it, for a while?
that's like a last throw of the dice, but you accidentally just chuck them out the window. Which is like, well, I don't know what number that is now.
Up to you.
No, absolutely zero chance of.
No upsets on those.
No.
Okay. Let's talk La Liga. Let's try this out, shall we? So, it's going into the last weekend of the season.
Yep.
I've done my reading. Last week of the season. And Real Madrid, because it's a bit different up there. Often it's Real Madrid and Barcelona, obviously the top two. If you knew that, Flav. They're the top two. And it does go down to the last game quite often. It's happened quite a few times. And Atletico Madrid obviously been involved in that at different times, not this season. Real Madrid have got to beat Malaga. Is it away? Okay.
Yes.
It is. Yeah, Malaga away. And sorry, they've got to lose, and Barcelona have got to win against Eibar. Anything to say?
Well, I've got one thing to say. I looked at the running order, and you put in the fact that Ronaldo had just beaten Jimmy Greaves, and Jimmy Greaves is not well at the moment, and that's really sad. So I don't think we should highlight the fact that Ronaldo is now the best.
What a player he was, Greaves.
Mm.
What a great record that was, which he's held since 1971.
That is incredible. Greaves was an absolutely amazing footballer, and Ronaldo probably is
very much
deserving.
A pioneer as well. To do it in England and then go away to Italy and do it there, and then come back. He was brilliant with Chelsea, brilliant with Tottenham, brilliant with West Ham.
Yeah,
complete goal scorer. I was trying to think earlier today about a contemporary equivalent of Jimmy Greaves. I'm not sure there is one. The closest you can get is Robbie Fowler, and he could score with his left, score with his right. It's all about just like making that little bit of space and then not bricking it when you got the shot.
That's the key. His calmness. The way he would. I've watched obviously lots of tapes of him, and he would stroke the ball into the net. He would never just think. Like Defoe blasts it, and he has a supreme level of technique when hitting the ball at
Kane,
pace.
a bit similar.
Kane, yeah, exactly. But Greaves, you should just simply.
Deft prods
exactly
into the perfect place.
And there was that one when he was playing, I think it was Leicester, and Gordon Banks was in goal, and the greatest goalkeeper of our time in Britain, certainly, and just walked past him, just fainted and just walked past him, and it was just like that was Jimmy Greaves. But in the modern era, Ronaldo is king, and
also just to continue, it's worth noting that Greaves did it on pitches that looked like carrot patches, and he did it against defenders who would quite happily break his ankle bones. Whereas Ronaldo, who is obviously the better player, I think we can agree on a technical level, is the better player. But he's playing on snooker tables all the time.
True.
In a game where serious hard tackling, the likes of which happened in the 60s and 70s, is pretty much verboten now.
One thing I did want, that's why I put Ronaldo breaking out records. I wanted to hear, as someone, obviously we only spent a bit of time with you, but you feel like a bit of a purist. And so what are your thoughts on Ronaldo?
I think he is everything that a human being can do to himself. He is like, if he was a computer game and you're building up your star ratings, buying your upgrades, He is everything that a human can be. The size of him, the speed of him,
optimal.
the technique. He is an optimised human. Whereas with Messi, it's always been like, if the papers tomorrow said he was an alien and he'd just been like having a bit of a holiday on Earth, and he'd got the size dimensions of a human wrong, so he had to like work that out with cow hormones and stuff. You'd be like, you would still be a bit surprised, but you'd also be like, no, that actually makes sense because there's something a bit otherworldly about him. But Ronaldo's very, very human, but the ultimate product of what you can do to yourself with hard work.
Yeah, but he had
It's
all
funny
the.
you say that, 'cause I feel the opposite a little bit.
Okay.
I feel like Ronaldo is kind of a bit alienish. He's kind of like he feels robotic.
But the raw materials he was working with, the Messi's and Ronaldo's is very different. You know, his frame is correct for a brilliant footballer. You know, he is, whereas he is everything you'd expect from a prime athlete. Whereas Messi is a bit weird. He does look a bit odd. He's a bit short, a bit like and then you look at Garrincha, who, you know, I think he had polio when he was a kid. Should never have been able to do what he did, but in spite of all of it, he managed to rise to the top of his game. And that's why I kind of love Messi more, is because he isn't attractive.
Do you know what I find it interesting as well? This is why I framed this question this way, because I wanted to see if the Messi thing came out straight away. They cannot escape each other. They cannot escape each other, and for the rest of their lives, they're literally. It's like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. There's those that kind of go through, that define a sort of generation of footballers. They cannot keep away from each other. It's mad.
Blessed are we to be born in a generation where we've got both of them. They are outstanding. I can't wait for them to go, though.
Yeah.
Like, just for that to end and to have something else to discuss.
Go on.
As you may have discovered, if you talk about them anywhere, the comments box will just fill up. Whichever one you praise, it will kick back the other way. Yeah. And it's like, for God's sake, they're both brilliant. I like them both.
And they do have some fierce fanboys online. I mean, I like stoking them a little bit, but not too much, because they're...
I don't really remember that in the past. I don't think there was like hardcore Bruce Grobbelaar fans and hardcore Neville Southall fans.
Yeah,
like going toe to toe and what would
Grobbelaar's tash is better. No, Southall's better. Yeah,
does he pay his taxes though?
Careful. Let's move on to season's learnings. Okay. Now I've got a few here which we can chat about. But if any crop up through the rest of the show, then let us know. And also, if you've got any season's learnings from this season, let us know in the comments below, because it's always just good to read. My first one, in the Premier League, dynasties are dead. To win the league, or is it? To win the league back-to-back, I feel like that's going to be so tough for teams to do over the next 5-6 years.
I think you're right, but I don't think we've seen a team who's actually done it properly. They all seem to be living hand to mouth at the moment, not really planning, making big summer splurges, trying to get little spikes here and there. No one's actually settled into a rhythm yet, with the exception of obviously Arsenal with Arsene Wenger. All the managers are relatively new. They haven't had time to bed down and build one, and whether or not they'll get to
even that rhythm, then it's not a joyous rhythm.
Well, I mean, there was a time where you would have a dominant football club.
Fourth.
Yeah. It should be a rhythm from which they can build. You know, you can't build from a rhythm. I know that doesn't make any sense. But
somehow I did.
A foundation. I know. It should be, that rhythm should... Forget it. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is there used to be a time in English football where you would have a dominant force, but now I think the income is so... I used to think that money going into football was overall quite a negative thing, but now I actually think it's making the game a lot fairer, because there's a lot of teams that have a lot of money who can spend their way into success, whereas they otherwise couldn't. When you were reliant completely on your club and how...
Certainly in the Premier League, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm talking about that competition, winning the Premier League. So, you know, you had Man United, you had Liverpool before, Arsenal had their period, but now you can't... All clubs in the top sort of 6 or 7 teams could mount a title challenge, and isn't that what we want?
Yeah, do you know what? Even those teams after, like... Stoke could have 3 amazing transfer windows where they get a guy that all the other Premier League teams weren't too bothered about, and Juventus wanted him, but they've got the wages on him, so they go and get them. I think it's something like Mbula they did that with. Yeah. Other teams wanted him, but those mid-table teams got so much money.
Hasn't quite worked out, that one.
No, it hasn't, unfortunately. I like his name though, I like saying it. Mbula.
Had a great start to his Stoke career.
He did. So you could do that, and doing a Leicester is a far more possible thing than it probably was 10 years ago at least. I do feel like the top clubs are kind of, there's a bit of a bottleneck there where they're kind of, there's a lot of them now, and Everton are only going to get better. Even the teams that say struggled, but Man City are going to get better. United are going to get better. It's so tough to win 2 on the bounce, 3 on the bounce.
And the problem is 10 years ago the gap is so pronounced that it's very easy to balance Champions League games with league games. You get one of the weaker teams in the Premier League, play the second team.
Bring in David May. He still dominates.
You just can't get away with that now. There's too many teams. Say Everton next season probably got 150 million quid to spend. They're going to be right up there, landing punches. And so not being in Europe suddenly becomes far more of a benefit than it used to.
Massively.
And do you know, and also the teams down the bottom are so organised. Like you talk about Middlesbrough there. Like they're so difficult to break down now that makes a draw for a Burnley at Old Trafford, or Liverpool struggled as well against the smaller sides or lesser sides, whatever you want to call them. That makes it more interesting, I guess, as well, and harder to get those points. I mean, the fact that Chelsea might get 30 wins out of 38 this season is just incredible. Second learning of the season: banners don't work. They really don't, do they? No. Because they're going to probably finish. They might finish 4th. Sorry, they might still get that 4th. But even if they don't, and even if they don't win the FA Cup final, he's not going anywhere, is he? He's not going.
Doesn't feel that way.
It would be so. I can't get my head around the idea of him going, but no, I think I am going to go actually. I don't really need the hassle.
I was in 2 minds, then I looked up and I saw an aeroplane, and that's pretty much swung me.
If I was him,
I saw another aeroplane.
If I was him and I looked up at that aeroplane, I'd go, do you know what, I was going to go, but now I'm staying.
Yeah.
If you can go to that lengths if you can go to that lengths, I was going to say something else then, but you deserve to not have the football club that you want, I think.
Is it sad that that banners don't work? That a protest like that doesn't seem to make a difference?
No, there's it's like get a bed sheet, $6.99 at Pound Stretcher, and then paint your message on there. They're spending £1,000 on an aeroplane. It's like there are football clubs all over the country, like on the brink of going out of business, and you've got fans chucking £1,000 at aeroplanes.
But my point is that on a serious note, do fans need to find a smarter way of organising if they want to actually make
when there's something to actually worth organising about,
and don't turn up. I mean, Arsenal fans did
that
the other night.
Look, yes, fans being organised is crucial. We have to be organised because there's things in our game that aren't right. I think overall the game is getting better, but there's still plenty of things that we could be protesting against. And if you're going to get organised, it should be for the betterment of the game, not because you just think, well, I'm a bit bored of finishing 4th, I'd like to finish 3rd, 2nd, or win it maybe. You're like, I understand they want change. I understand that they've been in a period of stasis seemingly for the last 13 years, but I can't get past the point where you're just like, look at Leighton Orient.
Yeah.
Those have got things to worry about.
The voice is it's got to be more pronounced and more collective. You look at German teams who just don't turn up, or do turn up and walk out after 5 minutes, who gather in the concourse and don't come in until after 10 minutes. That kind of thing, that makes a difference. Planes are just easy to laugh at.
Yeah, true. But the protest, the things they do protest in Germany generally are about things wider than their football club, unless something terrible's happening.
Yeah, and they're very, very good at showing solidarity for other groups of fans, which never happens, or hardly ever happens in England.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when Arsenal were charging Man City fans £64 a ticket, and it was all kicking off on social media with Arsenal fans going, well, they can afford it, they've got all that Sheikh Mansour money. So that's not theirs.
Yeah.
He's not giving it to the fans. They didn't all get pay rises.
Never go looking for football opinion on Twitter.
Yes, that's true.
Ever.
Especially not when I'm on there.
I guess you're right as well in terms of to make a change in something. You're right. It does need to be a collective, and so if it is based on the results of something, that is something that's very subjective and can change any second. So you're going to struggle to get that collective to make something happen.
But it can happen.
As frustrating as it is for those Arsenal fans who do want him out and are so sick and tired of
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking more serious elements, but you look at the work the Football Supporters Federation's done with their 20s Plenty campaign, which has actually finally come through. Everyone thought they were mad when they started that.
Yeah.
But working with groups like the Football Supporters Federation, you can actually get stuff done.
Definitely.
True. And the last one I've got is Tony Pulis is a 40-point merchant. So they've got 5 points in their last 11 games since they reached the 40-point mark. And I know, having a good friend who's a Stoke fan, he is renowned. He will get you there. he will does exactly what it says on the tin. He will get you to that 40-point mark.
Yeah.
And I always want to give people kind of opportunity. And so I in the past I have kind of said, Pulis could do a job at these bigger teams if you give him the opportunity. A bit like I was saying about
and the
Warner.
internal patience of all the supporters.
Yeah, true.
The counter to that is that there was one season with Pulis at Stoke where they were actually like a really decent football team. 2010, 2011, two old-fashioned wingers,
Pennant
two
and
big target
Everington.
men. Yeah, they were a decent football team, and I think he's always striving to get there. And they obviously went too far over the other side, and then he pulled it all tight again at Stoke, and it just went horrible. But he's never really had that much time again at Palace. He was only there for 2/3 of the season. Now at West Brom, he's just getting to the point where you think, okay, it's time to step it up another gear. But you say 40-point merchant. It's a big market for people who can get you 40 points.
It's a cracking niche he's got there.
It's worth £100 million in revenues. So
Watford will need one. They've got to find one.
Yeah, he does love a grumble about the transfer funds as well. And so, if West Brom were ever to maybe give him that, then you can see. Then you wait and see, and you can create that team.
They have a wealthy Chinese owner now who's very sensibly come in and not done anything, which I think is very, very rare from new owners. He's just come in and watched and waited and seen how it's all going. And so, if he chucks 70-80 million quid at Tony Pulis, which I think he'd be quite pleased about.
Because still, he has made some really astute buys.
He always does.
Johnny Evans, Fletcher's been great for them. Chadley,
young
Rondon's good.
Players coming through now. Scotfield, Lecco up front looks quite decent as well. So there is, I think, a second age of Pulis always somewhere on the horizon.
Sounds like a book.
Yeah, I think
you could write that one. Yeah. So those are mine. Is there anything that you've learned? You feel like you've learned this year?
Yeah, you don't need to win away from home. Burnley have proved that. All right, it got a little tighter than they would have liked it towards the end. Yeah. By that home record.
I've learned you do need to win away from home. Otherwise you don't win the Premier League.
That's true.
As good as our home form was, it was our away form that ultimately is to blame for us not winning the league.
Starting quickly is a thing for Tottenham, isn't it? Yeah. Second season of a slow start.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a life lesson for me as well, isn't it? Starting quickly and ending quickly. It's
that works for you.
It's a shame.
Oh, that's a shame. All right. Wow. Right. End of season awards. Again, I've got 4.
Okay.
I had 3 in the last one. 4. Doesn't matter. Stop talking. Leave him alone. The Leave Him Alone award. Right. The nominees are Guardiola, Wenger, Moyes, and Mark Hughes. I'm going to let you guys. You can choose who you feel should win the Leave Him Alone award.
I'd lean towards the first two. Arsene Wenger, because he's just really nice. It's just, I know you probably won't agree.
I agree with your choice. I think it's ridiculous. Not because he's really nice. He's not. He's odious. But he has gone through a lot this season, and he's given so much to Arsenal. Can you explain to them, because there'll be some people there, what Arsenal were before Wenger took them over?
Arsenal were in serious danger of just becoming another sort of mid-table London club with a bit of a history. The good spell at the end of the 80s and the very good spell at the beginning of the 70s, and of course Herbert Chapman times. Yeah, they had that history, but they were mid-table.
They were Stoke in London.
Yeah,
they weren't. They 100% were.
There was not too much after George Graham.
They had a George Graham hangover.
There was not too much to separate him from Chelsea and QPR and Tottenham.
So tell me the difference between George Graham and Pulis. There wasn't a great deal. It was pump it long
to Alan Smith.
You'll flick it onto Ian, right?
I do remember, I might be completely wrong with the stat, but I swear it was like 93, 94, something like that. Ian Wright scored 29 of their 36 goals or something like that.
I didn't know that.
It's something like that.
They used to win 1-0 every game.
All the time.
Every single game. Yeah, but he come into that club, and to change the entire fabric and belief. And people think of Arsenal now as free-flowing football.
Yeah.
But that isn't what they were for 90% of their existence.
Right.
Do you know what's fun weird about George Graham as well? The fact that he was an attacking midfielder.
He was a flair
Wasn't
player.
he? He was a flair. He was a Delta act. Who was known for not working hard. And
They called him Stroller.
They became the most bizarre manager.
Yeah.
Who just hated attacking.
But yeah, I remember my dad's mates would say, like, you either love Arsenal or you hate them, because nobody just quite likes them. Yeah. They're so boring and they're so overcautious. Nobody just likes Arsenal. And Wenger, as you say, turned that around. They became quite favourable for the neutral.
It gave you that air of superiority that you have, Arsenal fans. He's directly responsibility for it. Everything you think you deserve, you owe to him.
Okay. I should stress as well, I still think that his time has probably elapsed. I thought his time had probably elapsed about 2 or 3 years ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't like the way it's being done. It's all a bit snide. To go back to Guardiola, though, it's his first season. His first season in a brand new club. It was obvious, not quite as obvious as we realised at the time, but there's a huge transition period at that club. They need to overhaul everything. They're also trying to bring in what they memorably referred to as their holistic style, bringing in the academy graduates and everything. It's going to take time.
He was so magical, wasn't he? He came in and you were like, wow, Guardiola, teach us.
No, I say get him more.
You want getting more? I think out of those two, out of Wenger and Guardiola, leave Wenger alone, because he's dealt with it much more calmly than Guardiola.
Dude, I loved what he said the other day. He said when he was asked about, looks like you're going to finish 5th. He said, I don't understand why this is a problem. I've been told for the last 10 years that finishing 4th is nothing to be proud of. I was like,
yeah. Nice. Of the other two, I would say David Moyes. Give him the leave alone award, because he's had enough.
No,
poor bloke.
Mate.
Give him a break.
No way.
Just leave him alone.
Leave if you want a break. If you want a break, go away.
You know that Simpson? Have you ever watched that Simpsons where it's the Krusty Burglar? Have you ever seen that one? He's like, and it's a joke. He's like a mascot for this new opening of this Krusty Burger, and he's the mascot. And he's running away, and then someone's just it's Krusty, and he's just beating him up. Dead. Exactly. That's what it's like with David Moyes. He's like, he's already dead. Leave him alone.
No way. He does everything to himself. He could have. He'd done the direct. Seriously, he literally could have saved himself. I mean, he knew that he wasn't up to the job.
Oh, what do you mean, just quit on football?
Yes, quit on, because I'm sick of him, James. I'm sick of him turning up and being shit at every club he goes to. He is shit. It's time for Moyes to go, James. I'm not having it.
No, but I get that. But you don't just go, all right, guys. Yeah, I've decided to call it a day. Press conference. I've decided to call it a day. I'm just shit.
Yeah.
No one does that.
No one
I'm
does
just going to go live in a room and do crosswords.
Some people have the humility and dignity to walk away when they know they're not up to the job. But Sunderland fans have to go through an entire season of watching horrible, turgid football, destroying Defoe's end of his career. It essentially destroyed the end of his career.
What?
He's single-handedly had to pull make up for every mistake that Moyes has made. Now it's time for you to go away, Moyes. We don't want it anymore, do we, lads?
Name one person.
Am I being harsh?
A little, yeah.
Right.
But I mean, I can't argue key points. He's not done very well. He didn't do very well at Sociedad. He didn't do very well at Manchester United,
and he did okay at Everton.
I know. I agree with all of that, but just leave him alone. Like I can't look at him.
Has he resigned?
Not yet.
He hasn't resigned yet. Have some
give it an hour when this comes out. I think, like a wheezing Darth Vader, there is still good in him somewhere. This is still the player who took the gamble on Tim Cahill for £1 million that no one else would take. Still the man who took Seamus Coleman for what, 100 grand.
I think it was 60 grand. It was incredible.
And a bag of footballs or something. He's got an eye for a player. We know that.
I don't think
he can rebuild the club.
Just all the other bits.
It's just this season I haven't seen any evidence of that David Moyes. In fact, to return to the newspaper headline theme, if it emerged that David Moyes had been kidnapped shortly before taking over at Manchester United and tied to a radiator in a basement in Merseyside, and like his evil twin brother with no knowledge of football had taken over, again I would be a little bit surprised, but I would also accept that as a plausible truth.
Yeah, that would again be a great book. You should try. Are you taking a note of these? You got the Pulis one and the
Churn
Moyes.
them out, man.
So okay, go on. You guys decide who's the winner out of those four: Guardiola, Wenger, Moyes.
I'll go for Guardiola. Give him time.
Okay.
I'm not going to give the award out to anyone. I think they all deserve more. Wenger.
Okay. Let us know who you think should win these. We've got 4. Sensible Team of the Year award. Sexy title there. Watford, Stoke, West Brom and Burnley all in the mix on this Sensible Team of the Year award. They've had a sensible season. Well done there.
Got to be West Brom, isn't it?
Got to be West Brom.
Safety secured very, very early. Never in any doubt.
The only flair player they really bought was Chadley, who's actually quite good at tracking back.
Turns out.
Quite pragmatic forward.
Is he?
Yeah. He didn't really spend that much, apart from Chadley.
Yeah,
Pulis was quite angry at the end of August because he felt the players that had been bought weren't of the required quality, which I think broke what's his name's heart, the double-barrelled surname who played for Wales and scored the amazing goal.
Robson Canoe.
Robson Carnu. Yeah, you can imagine he'd just walked through the door like 10 minutes earlier. So no, it's not been a good transfer.
It's devastating, isn't it?
What?
Yeah. Or maybe I'll show him. Probably the first one.
Maybe.
I think you're right, West Brom. 11 games to go and they were safe. It's fine.
Job
They haven't
done.
really got a point since.
Yeah.
I think that's a good shout. West Brom wins Sensible Team of the Year award. Never Stood a Chance award. The nominees, I've only got 3 actually. Mike Phelan, Bob Bradley or Walter Mazzari.
Oh, sort of Mike Phelan, but then Marco Silva comes in and shows that maybe there was a chance with a completely different style of management. But Bob Bradley mainly because he he was so intrinsically linked to the American owners who were so unpopular at such an early stage that just as soon as he opened his mouth and started talking, he was in a bit of trouble. If it had been say Ryan Giggs who'd started off like that, I think there would have been a little bit more time granted to him to, he's just settling in. But Swansea was such a troubled club already, and hiring an American, it's not necessarily Bob Bradley's
It's such
fault.
an unfair disadvantage.
Being American.
He never stood a chance because he was American.
Well, it's less of the nationality per se, and the fact that it was the same nationality as the hated owners.
I don't know.
His status was
you agree with me,
compromised. His status was compromised right from the start. Not being very good at it also didn't help.
But the problem is when you listen to Bob Bradley talk, he's very impressive.
Yeah.
He does talk about football and he does understand the sport. And just because he's American, the kind of stereotypical, borderline kind of xenophobic attitude that he can't do it in England because he is American isn't helpful. But he can't do it in England. He proved it. He wasn't good enough. He wasn't.
I think those little things actually do make a big difference.
But it isn't because he's American. It's not because he's Bob Bradley.
Yeah, it's because the nationality was the same as the owners that compromised him.
I think it's the equivalent of. Obviously, I don't know this for completely, but there's the same talk about kind of like when Gary Neville went over to Spain, that their English managers were kind of seen as being a little bit of a joke.
Yeah,
so
they are here
unfortunately, true. So unfortunately, if he had that same stigma.
And again, he's compromised right from the start because he's come in because of the chairman. He's the chairman's mate.
Yeah.
And so the players aren't stupid. They know why he's got the job, and your authority's gone straight from the start.
And the last one, there are no nominations because there's a clear winner for this. The Invisible Manager of the Year award, which goes to Walter Mazzari. I had to Google his name again today, and I know it's a W and an M, and I've got Materazzi in my head, and you never saw him, because he was at the end of Match of the Day. You might have stopped by then,
always,
and then even when he was, you never heard his voice because it was the translators. He just kind of went under the radar the whole season,
weird, yeah.
And now he's gone.
What was it before he came to Watford? Forgive my ignorance.
Napoli. He was the man behind that great Napoli side with 3 at the back when 3 at the back was all Vogue and Continental, and then not so much at Inter, wasn't it?
Again, sorry, but do you know what the thing is? The problem is, you go, I'm going to learn a bit about this guy. Oh, he's not going to be here in 6 months. Why am I wasting my time?
Let's play this ping pong ball.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get back to Football Manager. Exactly. So yeah, those are my end of season awards. Have you got any? No, it's on the spot. Don't worry if you haven't.
No, they were considerable.
They were fine. Yeah, I think that covered it all. Didn't it? Yeah, I mean, that was all the bases covered. Yeah. Let's know if you've got any end of season awards you'd like to share with us. Let us know in the comments below. Right, Soldiers Lost in Battle time.
Oh, lovely.
And we've got Soldiers Lost in Battle Chapter 2 at the end of this as well, so stick around. Flav, as I get this ready, can you explain it one more time for the last ever?
Yes.
Well, for now.
So this is a moment in the show that we take to remember those who were in the unenviable and unfortunate position to miss a game of football for reasons that they wouldn't have liked.
This always gets me.
Multi-Robo Ghost. When I was 10, I missed the African Cup of Nations final, where my country Egypt won their 7th title, because I overslept that day. Come on, Ian.
Sorry.
This is amazing. Benjamin Smith. I once dated a girl who looked like Bruce Forsyth, because her brother would often have spares for Tottenham games. After 2 years, our friendship blossomed with the brother, and the fruits of my labour was a ticket to my first North London derby. Naturally, I broke up with his sister as soon as I heard, on account of her looking like Bruce Forsyth. However, soon after he inexplicably withdrew the offer. Our friendship was a parody. I've not been able to get tickets to the North London derby since, and now I live in Australia. I snapped my banjo string with her. And I'm not saying the last line because it's rude. Yeah. Andrew Daly. Running around the house as a kid, excited, waiting to go to a cup match. I smacked my foot on a door frame, broke my toe and had to go to hospital. We lost 2-1 to fucking Barnsley. Siddharth Potula. I missed Liverpool's League Cup final a few years back. My girlfriend took me to meet her parents. I thought it would be simple. Sit down, talk to them for an hour or so, and then head to the game. It turned out I left such a positive impression on them that her parents wanted to take us all out for a meal, and my girlfriend forced me into complying. I tried my best. Forgive me, footballing gods. But for fuck's sake, we won that one. Our first trophy in 6 years. Should have just been rude and got the hell out of there.
Any news on his banjo string?
Yeah.
That's a different person. But
Okay.
yeah, I imagine it's.
No,
you.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a theme.
Right. Oh, I see. Yeah, his banjo was fine, fortunately.
Thank God.
We still got 2 left, so I'm going to have to rewind it back again. Okay, hang on. So, last 2. Dan Mallon. My mate missed Newcastle win the championship the other week because his girlfriend was hungover.
What?
Truly awful.
What's that guy's name?
I don't know what the guy's name, but the friend's Dan Mallon.
That is out as well.
Yeah.
And finally, Football Fan 1233. Dad sent me to bed before the Chelsea vs Barcelona 2005 Champions League quarter-final. Chelsea scored 3 in 15 minutes and knocked out the best team in the world 4-2, while I lay in bed, awake, fuming I wasn't watching. I still haven't forgiven him.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
There's a theme here, isn't there? Mean dads.
Yeah, well, perfect. Perfect link, Flav. Thank you for that. Soldiers Lost in Battle, Chapter 2. So, sorry, first of all, that's tough to read. I hope you're all okay.
Yeah.
Hang in there. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, really. And, yeah, get your banjo checked out.
Godspeed, sweet princess.
Nice.
Always in here.
And so, let's cut that. So, Soldiers Lost in Battle, Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Now, last week, you would have missed this, but there was a Ryan W. Cockrell who missed the penalty shootout of the 2005 Champions League final in Istanbul because he got too carried away as a young kid. I think he was 9.
Proper emotional.
And his dad sent him to bed.
What? What?
So he saw the comeback, but he missed the penalties.
His dad? No, hang on. Like, what did he do?
So
Unless he
apparently-
set fire to the living room.
He was having an emotional breakdown.
So,
about
I mean, Flav, you...
Everyone was.
Yeah. So we kind of said we need to know more about this.
Yeah.
So Ryan did let us know in the comments. Thank you, Ryan, for this. So just to clarify, he said I was completely mental. I was properly losing my shit. I'd lived the highs and lows of being a Liverpool fan. I was 9. So it was not fun at all. I was gutted at half-time and then mental after the comeback. When Dudek made the save, I completely lost my head. You know the save of Shevchenko?
Yeah.
He just kind of went like that. And it flicked over somehow. When Dudek made the save, I completely lost my head. So my dad made the executive decision. I imagine I was probably doing my dad's fucking nutting. Either way, happy ending. Cheers for reading my comment. I really appreciate it.
That's not a happy ending.
But do you know what? I can imagine it.
Yeah.
Just get out of my sight.
Yeah.
Because the dad, he's just a young boy as well inside.
Yeah. He's going through the mill here. He's struggling with watching. You know, I've perhaps watched the greatest comeback in the history of football,
And we still haven't won it yet.
And
To your bed.
We've got a penalty shootout, and you've got this 9-year-old, probably a little brat. Sorry, mate, you probably were.
Well, no, he's kind of
going
saying that
crazy.
himself.
Yeah, going crazy. I reckon his dad was right. I retract. Your dad did a good job. Get out of my sight. We're just, we're about to watch Liverpool win. You know, I mean, I'm not sure I would have had the heart to do it to my kid. I don't know. You have to find a way to sedate them.
I'm sure there are ways.
Mainly.
Let's not go down that road.
Yeah, I did the opposite with my daughter a couple of years ago. She's
How will you woke her up?
well, sort of, yeah. Well, she's almost 6 now, and she said, "Daddy, I want to be a Chelsea supporter."
Whoa.
So I was like, when you catch a kid
Craig
smoking,
smiling on the ones and twos.
when you catch a kid smoking, you're like, right, you're going to smoke all of them right now. I said, right, Chelsea are playing tonight, and you're staying up and watching it, and you're not going to bed. So I sat her down in front of Chelsea. It was a European game. It was really, really boring. About half time, she was
That's
like,
a massive
"Daddy,
gamble.
I don't like Chelsea anymore. Can I go to bed?" I was like, "No, you are staying up for the whole lot." Like 70 minutes, she fell asleep. Like she never just falls; she just fell asleep like that. I was like, "No, wake up! Wake up! It's not over yet. You want to be a Chelsea fan? That's what being a Chelsea fan is about."
This is it.
No
That's
one
a
likes
massive
you. The
risk,
football's
though,
crap.
Yeah.
Did you kind of watch the first 15 minutes and go, yeah, this is going to be really boring, you can stick around? Or was it... Because that is a gamble.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What if it's unbelievable, like Samba football?
10-0. Yeah, but it was burning the plague out of victim zero. Now she just doesn't actually like football at all. So I feel like I probably went too far.
Yeah.
But there's no outbreak.
It's... Which one do you take?
It really is. It's an absolute tightrope.
Do you know what? I love reading them. So if you have a soldier lost in battle or you know of one,
send them in.
Please send them in because it just makes my day reading them, and they are so funny. That Bruce.
Plus, there will be other. We can build up a back catalogue for next season, or stuff we're going to be doing in the summer. We're not going away because it's the end of the season. We'll be doing bits and pieces.
True. Yeah, maybe you can take it on the other podcast if we get enough. With Matty, your call. It's your podcast. Yeah. Right, 2 for the weekend. Last thing that we're going to do. You've been getting your questions in, so these last 2 that we end the show on. So first one, Louis at Welch _Louis. So also, sorry, just to say, if you don't follow us on Twitter at Longball Street, go and follow that Twitter, and then you can get involved in future podcasts.
You're part of a niche audience if you do.
Yeah. Which out of the 3 relegated clubs, Hull, Middlesbrough, and Sunderland, have the best chance of bouncing back up straight away?
Hull have got no chance. Sunderland have got some chance if they just stop being stupid of coming back in about 5 years. But Middlesbrough, a fairly sensibly run club, good youth academy, good structure. If they get a good manager in, they could bounce back.
I think they've got some players there that might stick around as well.
Yeah, we got Ben Gibson.
And are too good for the championship.
Yeah, Ben Gibson's uncle is the owner. George Friend, who I think's been terrific. He's 29, so maybe he won't get the move that his displays deserve.
Do you think Steve Gibson, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think he just proper guilt trip on Ben Gibson to give him to stay? Yeah.
Where do you
think you're going?
It's win-win, isn't it? He's either got a Premier League status centre back who's probably bordering on the England team, or he's got 20 million. So,
I don't see any of them coming back up. I think the problems are. I know that isn't the question, but the problems at each club are severe. Hull we won't see again in the Premier League, I doubt, not for a very long time. Borough with Agnew
they'll get someone else though.
Yeah.
That is an appetising job for a lot of managers.
Yeah, and Sunderland, I think Moyes, actually I reverse, I think Moyes should stay. And then Sunderland we never see again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But Moyes, if he does have to stay, he has to go down all the way with them.
Yeah, make your choice now.
Yeah, it's a Borough.
And the last question, Nico at AFCW Nico. Are Premier League clubs closing the gap on Europe's elite? Is having a big transfer budget enough if, for example, the best players tend not to come? Not a big question there to finish on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I can't see it at the moment. I mean, the Champions League is the only barometer we've got, and it's not exactly working out there.
I agree.
Yeah.
So,
I know I am interested, not in a way that I want them to do well, but purely curiosity is how well Conte will do. I think his style is perfectly suited to cup competition. I think if they, with more money there, Chelsea have a really good chance next year to win the Champions League.
Some people, we did a social club earlier in the week, and they're kind of saying that they still needed quite a few players. I really feel they've got massive depth. Chelsea,
yeah. I think so.
I mean, there's 37 players out on loan this season, I think.
58.
Maybe bringing a few of them into the first.
1970.
381 players out on loan.
Yeah.
Maybe bringing a few of them into the squad would be a nice idea rather than just sending them off to Vitesse Arnhem.
Yeah.
But I still think they need 3 or 4 extra names. Remember, they didn't really have any serious injuries.
That's true.
No,
And they're going to have a lot of games.
They need names, but they even still at this time they have a better squad than most Premier League teams. They have the best squad, I think.
Okay, so that's it.
All right.
That's it. Yeah.
That's a shame.
Final
one for the weekend.
Final one for the weekend. Final fixtures and putting our bets in and making our choices. Is there any upsets? Give us an upset for this final
If I
weekend.
had to really go out on one of them, I would say Middlesbrough to sneak a point against Liverpool.
Nice shout. I might give Hull a draw. Because they're good at home, aren't they?
I'm going to say Sunderland.
After all of that?
Are
you kidding me?
Dave Moyes, he's going to get... They're Chelsea. They're playing Chelsea away, right?
Yeah.
This is where he arrives. He's going to go, all that was a joke. This is the real test.
That is the longest of long shots. That's like the goal is on the moon
walk
and
away
you're
with the
kicking
Reddies,
it.
aren't I? There is money on this, right?
I will gleefully take money.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Do you want to put a bet on that?
Yeah.
Do it after.
How much do you want?
If you want to get involved, the Beta app is available now on Fan League. The link is in the description, so take us on and let us know your predictions in the comments below. We'll copy and paste the fixtures that we're taking on the 13, and you can do that as well. That is going to be the end of the season. So the final thing, is there any advice that you can give football fans who are going to get to the 3rd of June, Champions League final is going to be over, then what? What advice do you give them?
There's a Confederations Cup. There's England and the under-17s final on Friday, and then have a break. Just have some time off.
Enjoy
Play some
the
Football
break,
Manager.
I would say don't even watch those.
Just
bother with
just
that.
cleanse the palate
under 17s
completely.
football is pony.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good for 17-year-olds.
Still haven't got the strength in their legs to kick the ball.
I mean, to a certain extent.
Oh, right. Harold.
No, just go out and enjoy. Go and feel something else all the time.
Really thought that was going in a different direction. But yeah, absolutely. Do
go
what
and
he
find
said.
go and find some men or women. So, express yourself physically.
Do you know, the sun's going to be shining. Get a frisbee.
Go
You
and
know,
frisbee.
have a
Get out.
picnic. God.
Have a picnic.
Turn off YouTube. Go on right now.
Well,
watch a few more Ball Street
yeah,
videos.
thank you.
Subscribe to Long Ball Street and Ball Street's main accounts.
Yeah.
Follow Ian on Twitter. That's
Yeah.
at Iain Macintosh. And then after you've done all that, go and
Have a picnic.
have a
Scotch
picnic.
eggs, man. Scotch eggs are so underrated.
Right, that is it. Yeah, don't need to do all the admin. Flav's just done it there. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it and you do want it to come back next season, let us know why in the comments below as well. And that's it. Ian, thank you so much, mate.
It's been a pleasure.
Good fun, isn't it? It's good
Thanks for having
fun.
me.
I do like it.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Well done, James.
Cheers, mate.
Congratulations
Yeah. Right.
on a good show.
Let's go have lunch.